plus life.
Hey guys, welcome. This is episode number 5 of the Sports Plus Life Baby podcast, and we're going to talk about once again the Last Dance, which aired last night, episodes 3 and 4, and these were my favorite ones, man. We're going to kind of blend them in together, kind of talk about them. We're going to go jump back and forth, kind of like they do. And the first episode kind of dove into more or less Dennis Rodman's story. Where he was pretty much homeless for for a couple years, and was just working in the gym, watching people do drugs, trying to stay on couches, and just stuck with basketball. I ended up going to a Southeast Oklahoma University or Southeast Oklahoma State or something like that. It was called. I didn't know that about him. That was pretty crazy. He was just a normal dude, very, very basic. If it were up to him, he'd live in his van and, just travel the world. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Those of you who didn't watch it. Definitely, Dennis Rodman's story went to Southeast Oklahoma State or University, can't remember what it was. And then he from there got drafted, got drafted by the Pistons. I think they said the 6th round or something like that, if I remember right. In the draft, and he just worked hard, man. And the cool thing about Dennis Rodman that I liked a lot is that what a lot of people don't do, you just don't see someone like Dennis Rodman anywhere. Mentality, the look, the persona, the attitude. Because nowadays people try to be jack of all trades, trying to be a master of everything. Dennis Rodman knew what he was good at. And he says it in there. I knew what I was good at. It was defense and rebounding. And there's just something you definitely don't see. And I don't think you've ever really seen. Dennis Rodman studied shooters. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, his own teammates. Studied shooters to see how they shot the ball. If they shot it, which way the ball is going to spin off of the rim. If he shoots it this way, if he shoots it that way, he studied the revolutions of the ball. I've never heard of anybody study that before, and he definitely did. And it was what the hell am I doing here? Give me a second here. But yeah, it was so cool to see because you just don't see stuff like that anymore. You don't see anybody do that. You don't see role players like Dennis Rodman anymore. And it's kind of a breath of fresh air. Because like I said, everyone's a shooter. Everyone's a shooter. No one likes rebounding. No one likes playing defense. It's very evident by the scores you see in these games, 125 to 140. That a lot of people don't like to play. It's just an overall, and a lot of, you can't really give it to people who don't like to play defense. You do have people like Kawhi Leonard and Patrick Beverley who play physical defense, do very well. But it's not, no one really just stands out as far as their defense goes, like Dennis Rodman did. Also, a lot of the rule changes as well. A lot of the fouls you've seen in those highlights in the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of them are flagrants now, were just common fouls back then. They showed that whole Dennis Rodman in the finals, as they were getting swept or getting beat up. The Pistons were getting beat up. 1990, 1991, they showed Dennis Rodman just shoving Scottie Pippen on the floor, and it was just a foul. Now that's a flagrant 1, flagrant 2. You're getting ejected out of the game. So definitely big, different sets of rules, different times, different eras. Obviously, way different physicality as well. But also one of the reasons why I look back and I'm just like, that's why Michael Jordan was the GOAT. That's why he always will be the GOAT. It's a different game. You can't get as physical, as with someone like LeBron James, you need to get physical with someone like LeBron James, because it was just the way it was back then. But finishing off with Dennis Rodman, there's no one like him ever. I don't think you ever will see anyone like him. I can't think of off the top of my head. People be like, I heard someone drop Draymond Green. Draymond Green, first off, he's ugly. All right, the dude's ugly. Don't have the hair. Doesn't have the persona. He's corny. compared to what Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was just he's real. That's the way he is. He was just himself. And that partnership between himself and also what worked really well when Dennis Rodman joined the Bulls, I think it was 94, 5 or something like that. Joined the Bulls was just the understanding of who Dennis Rodman was. Phil Jackson understood the type of person that he had on his hands because Phil Jackson was kind of very similar in his playing days to what Dennis Rodman was. He wore what he wanted. He wanted to be the free spirit he was. They shared they shared a Phil Jackson in the episode shared this this kind of like thing they share a like for Native American heritage, and so they kind of shared a lot of common hobby, and which is really cool, and that's kind of like connected, and you don't see that nowadays. A lot of guys, a lot of coaches just want to be the cool dude, want to be cool with everybody, but doesn't want to understand anybody. You don't. I mean, once you see the NFL just recently, Bill O'Brien and Hopkins. And Bill O'Brien was like, Hopkins said there was no relationship with him. Fine, you don't have to have a relationship with him. There has to be an understanding, and I don't think Bill O'Brien understood what Hopkins in general, and so that's why Hopkins is going off to a better situation, and Bill O'Brien's digging himself in a bigger hole. Phil Jackson understood. As did Michael, as did Scottie Pippen, the whole organization as a whole understood what they had on their hands. And it paid off very well. I mean, they paid off very well. 3 championships in a row. And Dennis Rodman, being the role man he is, understood his role and did his damn thing. Rebounded, played defense. And he did it very well. One of the best rebounders ever. I like that stat they showed where he was the only person to record 20 rebounds and 0 points 7 times. So he did that 7 times. I think the next closest was Marcus Camby, who did it twice or something like that. So it just goes to show you how he doubled, tripled down on his craft and what he was good at. And a lot of people especially in this league, need to hunker down and be like, okay, what am I good at? And you can see a whole lot more competitive games too. The whole story of Dennis Rodman going to Vegas was my favorite part. That shit was just hilarious. He was laughing. He was like, the whole story, if you guys didn't watch it, the whole story was, Phil Jackson goes, gets Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan goes, Dennis wants to tell you something. He's like, oh shit, Dennis, he never wants to tell me anything. It might be, something I don't want to hear. And he goes, Dennis Rodman goes, I need a vacation. He's all, what the fuck? And Michael Jordan replies with, if anyone needs a vacation, it's me. He's like, what? He's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? And I just laughed. It was very, very funny because I never heard about that story. And he goes, well, he goes, I need to get away. Because this was, Scottie Pippen had just returned. Dennis Rodman was a workhorse, working his ass off. And he's like, I need a vacation. You need to get away. And this goes to, to their understanding of who the type of person Dennis Rodman was. And Phil Jackson's all, well, can't you just go for 48 hours? I'll take whatever the fuck you give me. And 48 hours turned into I think an extra 2 more days or something like that. And I partied, did his damn thing, was with Carmen Electra. By the way, Carmen Electra still looks good. They showed her in there. They interviewed her. She looks amazing. And they go to Jordan. Well, did he come back after 40 years? Oh, no. We had to go get him. Michael Jordan himself went down to Vegas, picked up Dennis Rodman, took him to practice. Himself. You don't see that. There's not that type of leadership very much anymore. He had to go by himself. I don't know if he was by himself, but he went. And Carmen Electra said, Michael Jordan's at the door. I have to cover her up. And Michael Jordan even says, I'm not even going to tell you what I saw in that bed. I ain't even going to tell you what was there. I just went to go pick him up. And that's leadership, man. That's an understanding of your people. That's an understanding that this is who they are. Yeah, so cool. I thought it was so funny. It was hilarious. I've never heard a story like that. And then he went to practice like maybe he was hungover, but he went and did work. They told the whole Indian run story. If you guys don't know what the Indian run is, when you all jog in a line. You guys are on the line jogging around, and then the whistle blows. The person in the back has to sprint all the way to the front. And they're trying to set a pace for Dennis Rodman, and he didn't need it because he went back to work like nothing happened. He got his rest, and he was good to go. That was crazy. So it's just an understanding, which a lot of people, you could take that and what you want. You got to understand people. You could use that as life choices. Don't judge people by the book of the cover, but by the cover of the book. Understand them. Open up that book. Read a little bit. Understand it, and you'll get a whole lot more out of somebody if you understand them. And that was really cool. That's what I took away from that episode. They also delved into the whole Phil Jackson story. He played, won a couple championships from the Knicks. Went to like Nicaragua. I can't remember what he said. Also, coached and assistant coach. I didn't realize Doug Collins was the head coach for a couple years for the Bulls. I didn't realize that. But then the whole Detroit Bad Boys, the whole Detroit episode, I loved it because, like I said, different era. It was just way, way more physical, and you had to beat the shit out of Michael Jordan to get him to slow him down, and that's what exactly they did. There was no hiding what their game plan was, and they won 2 championships back to back because of it. There's no, I mean, that's just the way it was. It was hard-nosed. They were called bad boys, bad boys of basketball for a reason. They didn't mind getting into shit. They didn't mind mixing it up. And if there was one way to stop anybody, you just had to hit them. I mean, that's what they did for 2 years in a row. Beat them up. And you also don't see that very often where teams stay together that long, 3-4 years in a row, to build something. Michael Jordan didn't win his first championship till 91, so he was already 7 years in the league, I believe, something like that, 7 years. And slowly but surely, things take time. Things take preparation, and that's very evident because they got beat up for 2 straight years by the Pistons. The Eastern Conference Finals aren't able to get past those guys. Michael Jordan, shooting champion, scoring champion, dunk contest champion, defensive, player of the year. But just can't get the real championship thing. And they recognized that work had to be done. They adjusted. And that 3 times the charm. They adjusted that they needed to add more weight, get stronger, be able to take these hits and get up. And it showed. By the way, in that episode, it was Super Bowl 33, I think, Broncos-Packers. And Michael Jordan bet on the Broncos to win, got a hundo. Was it from Bill Wellington? I can't remember who he was taking it from. I can't remember who it was, but he bet it on the Broncos, so he was a Broncos fan. You can go with that however you want. But yeah, they realized it. They got to put on more weight. They got to work. They didn't go out and take a vacation. They didn't go out and say, call the opposing team like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Let's go hit up a banana boat and let's go hang out. No, they got right back to work. As a team, they put on weight. But you don't see that anymore. Teams being cohesive for that many times, for that long period of time, 3, 4, 5 seasons together. Now it's like I have one good year. My team made the East Conference Finals. I was probably the best team there, best player there. Let me go to a winning. Let me go to a team. Let me go to a better team. Let me get more money. Everything this year, nowadays is about business. Kevin Durant won his championship, didn't go to the Brooklyn Nets to win championship or win basketball. He went there for business. You don't see it. LeBron James didn't go to the Lakers to win basketball right away. He went there for business. It's very obvious. Everything's more about business instead of just winning championships. That's why you see more teams winning. That's why you saw more teams back-to-back 3 points. So in the 90s, you're taking a look from the 80s, 90s, Pistons, Bulls, Rockets, Bulls, and then it was the Lakers. So, after that, the last three-peat was the Cowboys. Yeah, I'm thinking different sport. Kobe Bryant and the Lakers and Shaq. you just don't see stuff like that anymore. And I don't remember last time someone went back to back. It may have been the Heat. I can't remember. It's just very, very different. And then I thought it was really cool that that's what they did. I mean, they had to get together, and it was just stronger. It was just everyone. It was no one was homies. No one was homies. No one was like, oh yeah, let me hug. And it was evident by what the Pistons did. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go hug, I'm gonna go give him dap, and no, they're like, fuck you, you beat us. I'm gonna be salty. I'm gonna walk off the field. I'm gonna walk off the court. That shit was cool. This shit was real. You won't hear LeBron James say all that shit. Horace Grant and Michael Jordan said they were straight bitches, and that was cool. They were just straight bitches. You won't hear that because LeBron James has a lot of friends on the other team. You won't hear that from Kevin Durant. You just won't hear that from anybody. You'll get fined. It's just softer league. And that was a breath of fresh air for people old school like me who, like a little confrontation like that. So all in all, it was really, really cool. It was eye-opening. I want people to see, especially a younger generation, to see this is how it was. Not everybody was friends. You don't have to be friends with everybody. You want to win championships, you want to go down as the best ever, you got to put in the work. And it showed. Michael Jordan had put in the work, put in more weight. He was, he made the steps. Yeah, he was the best shooter, won a dunk contest. Yeah, he was MVP. But there's still something missing, and he did work to do it. He didn't go tell his homies, be like, oh, let's go put on a super team together. No. They went back as a team, whoever was there, and got better. So that's what I took away with it. It was really, really cool. I enjoyed it very much. Damn, I didn't know Scottie Pippen got a migraine. They got fucked. Was it Game 7? That one Game 7? The year before they won? That sucks, dude. That put them in a big hole. They couldn't do it. It is what it is. Yeah, that's just how that's how life was. And if a couple things you need to take away from that is never judge a book by its cover. Open it up, understanding a little bit. Get to talking, and always have your eye on the prize. That's what they did. Their eye was on the prize. Their eye was on the prize. Not one person's. Their eyes was on the prize collectively. And everyone made the adjustments. 3-peat and then another 3-peat. And it's still on Jerry Krause because who knows how many championships they could have won. The fact that you're trying to fix something that's not broken. As an owner, you sit back and this guy says, well, I'm going to get rid of him. Why? Well, because we need a fresh. Why do you need a fresh? I mean, everything just, I don't get it. As an owner, I would have fired him and be like, no, you're done. Like, I don't care. We're going to win championships. So if there's any like a dark spot, it was that. It was Jerry Krause. But everyone else, man, doing their work, doing their thing, a cohesive understanding of each other, understanding team. You're going to fight. You got to get back on and you just get the eye on the prize. And so understanding, eye on the prize, togetherness. That's what it was. Very, very cool episode 3 and 4. I'm excited for 5 and 6 because I think they bring up Kobe Bryant. 5 and 6, the preview is what I saw. Is what someone posted. I reposted it, but something about Kobe Bryant. I'll see you down the line. So, yeah. A lot to unravel there, but that was my favorite episode. Was the Dennis Rodman. That shit was cool. That shit was so cool. But that's it for episode number. Wait, did I say 4 or 5? This is number 5. Baby podcast number 5, and I'm gonna do these baby podcasts for this reaction on the Last Dance. So there's 2. 4. There's 3 more left to go. I think. Yeah, 3 more left to go. 3 more weeks. Baby podcasts. And, so holla at your boy. Follow me on Sports Plus Life on Instagram and Twitter. MRAKACO on Instagram and Twitter. MRAKACO on Twitch. I'm on Twitch as well, live streaming Call of Duty most of the time. Eventually, I'll delve into probably a little bit of FIFA. You never know. And then follow me on youtube.com/Sports Plus Life. And that's it. Holla at your boy. Get at me. Episode number 43 is Sports Plus Live podcast coming out tomorrow. I'll let your boy. Get at me. Late.